Hello everyone, my name is Shambhavi. Hope you all are doing well. So into the previous video, we had gone to the select statement, right? We had seen that how you can first of all insert the values into our the table. After that, we had seen regarding the select statements. Now, these select statement do not finish up at this particular place only. We have much more things to see in these select statement only. So today we'll be continuing out the same thing, right? So now this time before writing out the queries, I just want to take you to the OneNote here at this particular place. Now, remember in the DQL commands we had discussed about the select statement, that what is it used for, right? We had even seen out the syntax. This was one of the you could say a simple example, a manual example which I had taken out here. So yeah, we already saw out this particular statement and we had seen out this asterisk as well. Now there are several keywords which we as will use out with the select statement. So the first one is the distinct keyword, right? So we are gonna see out that particular right here. Right, so let's see that how we just use out. First of all, I just want to explain you the use of that distinct keyword, that what is that actually used out for. See, that distinct one is used for whenever you just want to get out. Let's say we had taken the column that was employee work. In that employee work, we were having some repetitive work for the employees. 2 or 3 were the software engineers, 2 or 3 were the data analysts, and some of them were the business analysts, and the things were going out like this, right? Now, let's say you have a case that you want the data for that how many total distinct values, that how many total values that are distinct, that are different, are present in that particular column. So this distinct is the keyword which helps you to do out the same thing which I just mentioned right here. Let's quickly see out an example for that. So I would just first of all use out my select statement. And after that, what I would just write out here is that I would just write out my distinct keyword, right? As I mentioned, select distinct. And okay, after distinct, you need to write out that column name from which you just want to select out the distinct value, right? So, okay, I would just put on here the column name that is employee underscore work, right? From. Now, what's my table name? My table name here is employee, right? So that is select distinct employee work from employee. At last, okay, just 1 second. At last, put out this colon, yeah, and right here put out this colon at the last. And now it's the time for running out the program. See, what I'm just getting out here, I'm getting out here employee underscore work, and there are total 3 distinct values in this particular column. First one is my software engineer, second one is my business analyst, and third one is basically my data analyst. So the column which I had mentioned here, that was employee underscore work, this particular column is having total 3 distinct values into it, right? Now, instead of this employee underscore work, now if I just put on here as email, that was one of the columns, right? If I just put on that column here, what it gives? It gave me all the emails which we present at, which we had mentioned, right? Now, what's the reason? Because right now here in this particular case, we do not have any different or any distinct value, right? Whatever the values we are having right here, all of them are different to each other. So that's the reason that here I just got out all of the values which were listed. But you will be able to see one thing here, that 2 of the values were there, 2 emails were there that were coming 2 times, right? So that have been removed out from this place, right? This is the idea regarding this out. So this is how the distinct keyword works, right? Okay. Now next we have select all place. Okay, now here we have next keyword which is all. So let's see that what is this keyword actually used for. So my SQL here again, let's come down and write out. So I would just write out select and the comes the all function. What's my one which I would be mentioning out? So let's say I'll be mentioning out the name. Okay, so my column which I want to do it for is employee underscore name from, and what's my table name? Table name is employee. Putting out the semicolon and after that running out this particular line. So see, whatever the things were there, all of them are now right now coming to me as an output. So this statement is actually a little bit similar to the previous statement which we had already seen once. Let me just show you that thing as well. Remember we had seen out this statement, right? So it is almost similar to this particular statement only, right? Nothing too much of difference right here. So yeah, this was about the all keyword which we were having. Now let's move towards the next and see what is the next keyword. Okay, now here we have this where clause. Now what is this where clause used for? It is used for putting out the condition. I would show you how. Yes, this is my SQL workbench. I would write out here my select statement. Okay, select. Now let's say my condition is that I want the name of all those employees whose employee ID is greater than 4. Right, I want all the details of all the employers whose email or whose employee ID is greater than 4. Right, let's say this is my condition. Let's write out a query for this. So first of all I would write select. Now when all details come, so in that case we could simply put out the asterisk. Right, from what's my table name? That is my employee. Right, now here comes my where clause. Right, where giving my condition where employee underscore ID is greater than 4. This is how we put out the condition. This is how we give out the conditions, right? Now here can be one another thing that you do not want all the details. You simply want out some one or two details. So in that case you could just specify those particular column names for which you just want the value for. But right here I had just put on asterisk. It means that I want all the columns, all the values to be displayed whose employee ID is greater than 4. Now if I just run that out, have a look. What I'm getting out here, I'm getting out 5, 6 and 7. That 7 is coming duplicate. So I just told you that we'll be removing that afterwards, not right here. Okay. So if we just talk about a distinct thing, so it is coming 5, 6 and 7. Right. So this is how this particular condition works out. Now if I just close that out and instead of this asterisk sign, now if I just simply put on one single column name. Let's say my column name is employee underscore name, right? And now if I just execute out this particular statement, see now I'm simply getting out the names only. Now the rest of the information, that was the email, that was the employee ID, that was work, those are not at all coming right here. Right? Why? Because we had mentioned out one particular column name here, that is employee underscore name. Right? This is how this particular where clause works about. Fine. Now, let's say now you have another condition that you want the let's say you want the employee ID, the persons whose employee ID is between 2 till 5. You just want all of those to come. So in that case, we just use out this between function which I have written out. Just let's see how we just use that out. So my SQL. I would just write out here as okay, haven't I put on the semicolon at the last? Did I or not? Yes, I did. Fine. So here comes the select. After that, let's say after that comes the employee. Okay, after that, let's take out the employee work. Employee underscore work. Right? From what's my table name? My table name is employee. P-L-O-Y-E-E, employee. Here comes the where clause, where my condition would be where my employee underscore ID, where my employee ID between 2 and 6. Let's say this is my condition which I want to put out, that select employee work. Basically, I just want the data for the employee work from my table, which is employee, where my condition applies that my employee ID is between 2 and is between 6. Right? I would just put on the colon and let's run this out here. So running it out. See, now I am just getting out the data for all of those employee work which are between 2 and 6, right? So 2, 4, 5 and 6. So in that case, we are having some repetitive as well. So it's coming here repetitive again. right? So I will just close this right here. Fine. So hope you just got out the idea that how we just use out this particular select statement as well for if you just have out any particular condition, so how you will be using that out, right? This between is again done. Next, you are having not between. Not between means that you will be those two values will be excluded, right? If I just put on here not between, so it means that you would be getting out all the like all the values which are not between 2 and 6, which is basically less than 2 and more than 6. Now if I just run that out to see, I'm just getting only 3 here, software engineer, data analyst and the data analyst, right? So this is how this not between function as well works out. Right, so hope you first of all got out this idea that there are several queries which you can write. There are several ways which you can just use out with the select function and get out your required data, put on several conditions onto this, and you could just perform out rest of the things like this. Right, so this is all for this video. Till then, thank you and take care.